Does the console war really exist? The idea of Xbox versus PlayStation versus the Nintendo Switch all bashing against each other for market domination. These are kind of old school ideas of gaming, but if there is actually a battle going on, Sony has definitely won. PlayStation has just confirmed that the PS5 has sold 40 million consoles. And I want to discuss this because I do think that the industry, the idea of console gaming, has officially changed. And I want to explain why. What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could like this video and subscribe if you haven't already. So here it is over on Twitter confirming the rather jaw-dropping news. Thanks to you, the PS5 has surpassed 40 million units sold since its launch in November 2020. Now let's just start things off with that because it specifically is saying units sold. This is not systems sitting in warehouses or just consoles that have been built but not yet shipped. This is 40 million consoles sold, which is some of the highest system sales ever. They're literally having a record-breaking year after multiple other record-breaking years. And I think even this top comment here, this top reply on Twitter, explains why. Thank you for providing such excellent experiences. I mean, think about it. Horizon Forbidden West, Ratchet & Clank, God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2 coming soon. A lot of people are talking about the fact that just here in 3 months, we're getting Spider-Man 2 as another exclusive console experience. It is undeniable that PlayStation has switched tactics of making the biggest, most popular, high-quality games possible, and it's been effective. A couple years ago, there was this talk about the fact that internally, Sony said Metacritic is everything. They basically said, okay, you can't just make a good game, you can't just make a great game, you can't just make a game that sells decent. It has to be the best game ever, so it sells forever. And I think this tactic was controversial when we first heard about it because the Days Gone director was basically saying that's the reason that we're not getting a Days Gone 2. Days Gone is a good game, but it got a 71 on Metacritic. So Sony actually said, no thank you, it doesn't hit this Sony brand of approval. It doesn't make it where we can sell it forever like Ghost of Tsushima or The Last of Us. I was thinking about this though because also we're in a weird spot. So this is a thing where PlayStation's allowed to make it where people can vote on their favorite game every single month. And these have been the PlayStation selected titles of the month ever since the PS5 came out. And the reason I wanted to show this is because I think this does show the fact that this is how PlayStation is doing something smart. Look at this. We have such a crazy range of Bugsnax, which is a super cute game, to the Dead Space remake, to Deep Rock Galactic, a procedurally generated co-op game, Hitman, Hades, Gran Turismo. Now, the reason I think this is just so fascinating is because, think about it, a lot of these are first party, like Ratchet & Clank and Returnal and Last of Us, of course, but a lot of these are third party. Turtles, Shredder's Revenge, Sifu, Resident Evil Village, which is a game I'm personally obsessed with. What is so interesting about this? It shows the fact that PlayStation is beginning to dominate the third party. They're beginning to be the default gaming console. Over here on Reddit, people are discussing the idea of this market domination because it really began with the PlayStation 4. The PS4 is when things began to shift. The Xbox 360 was a juggernaut. The Nintendo Wii was absolutely freaking huge. So it really took that slow creep for Sony to actually spread themselves and become the default console. It actually took almost the same amount of time for the PlayStation 4 to sell its 40 million units. Technically, the PS5, it hit the same benchmark 2 months slower. Now, personally, I think the fact that really this is probably mostly because of the chip shortage. Sony is experiencing a record-breaking financial year, but right now, this thing, it's still wild to think about 40 million units, and I think a lot of it comes down from this. I don't see Sony ever stopping, to be honest. They're on a roll with first-party blockbuster titles, and now we're in the era of digital gaming. It's harder than ever to get players to switch ecosystems, and Sony have done an excellent job entrenching players into theirs. This is it. This is the biggest thing. This is their major advantage. People probably picked up a PlayStation 4 and started to buy games there, and a lot of them all work now. If you're somebody like myself that owns hundreds of PS4 games, all of them work on the PlayStation 5, and a lot of them are even better on the PlayStation 5 because now they don't have load times. Some of them even got free PlayStation 5 patches, so they actually look better and run better on this new hardware. And that initial infrastructure, that basically tells you never to buy an Xbox. Now, I know some people own both. Like personally, obviously, I own and play an Xbox quite a bit. I play my Nintendo Switch quite a bit. But a lot of people have now treated PlayStation as the default brand. It is the main game console, and the other ones are supplementary. Now, I'm not saying this as an insult to the Nintendo Switch or to the Xbox. I think that right now, PlayStation has done the very difficult task of becoming the casual console. I mean, I hear so many random normies, people that don't game that much, talking about buying a PlayStation 5 to play Call of Duty or Minecraft, or even just booting it up to see some random free online games like Fortnite. And I think that shows just how massive Sony has become. Now, part of the reason this is just so mind-blowing to me is because I bought my PS4 day one. I actually am one of those people that wasn't really sure about it at the time, but I pre-ordered it and I got it. And you know what? For that first couple months, I still liked my PlayStation 3 a lot. I have a huge PlayStation 3 collection, so it made it a bit difficult when suddenly I had to jump over to the PS4 console generation and it didn't have backwards compatibility. That's why we got games like The Last of Us Remastered, is because that just came out on the PlayStation 3. Everybody's buying a PlayStation 4 and they needed to rebuild the game so it could actually run on this next generation. It's interesting that after that weird hiccup of a bunch of people saying, okay, I have to restart my console collection with the PlayStation 4. I can only buy PlayStation 4 games. There is no built-in automatic game base here. It's interesting that Sony managed to build up the hype levels of the PS4 so much that they've managed to completely dominate. Honestly, I know a lot of people are hating on the idea of remasters and remakes, but I think that Sony has, in a way, actually shown how they can do that right. The Uncharted games getting remastered on PlayStation 4, and then now some of them even being remade again on PlayStation 5. Honestly, the Demon's Souls remake just being so utterly brilliant. I mean, I think we're in an interesting era where the PlayStation 5 is managing to be osmosis. It's managing to be ethereal. It's managing to actually seep into every aspect of the industry. If you love your Nintendo Switch, I think that's great. I think the Nintendo Switch sits in a separate part of the gaming industry where, honestly, I own a Switch to play Nintendo games. Pikmin, obviously, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is one of my games of the year, but I think PlayStation is where a lot of people buy games first. And man, the marketing to actually establish that, it cannot be overstated just how smart of a chess game Sony has managed to play, and the fact that they won still blows my mind. 40 million consoles sold in 3 years is truly jaw-dropping. But what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for the future of PlayStation? And are you going to buy that new Spider-Man PS5 coming up here? I mean, I'm probably going to buy the plates. The pre-orders start tomorrow. I'm definitely going to try and get some. Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a big old thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. I'm really excited to buy an actual official Spider-Man controller. I made this Spider-Man controller. You know what? It's kind of jank looking. I think you can tell I made it. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.